what the heck is that? We have our guest. I play Prodigy. Also
Hola! What's up, interwebs?
Hello, interwebs indeed. And today's show will be about Titanfall, and then Titanfall, and the Titanfall beta, and Titanfall gameplay, and what do we think about Titanfall, and other Titanfall-related things, and then maybe a little bit about the Olympics, and then more Titanfall. So, who wants to start off Titanfall?
Well, first off,
Strictly business,
Prodigy,
dude.
tell us a little bit about what you do on your YouTube channel.
So, when I really was down deep into the YouTube scene, I did a lot of Call of Duty gameplay, but since then I've kind of receded from the community of Call of Duty for many reasons, and started to try and dive into Minecraft. I play with a good amount of Minecraft players, but I just have issues on uploading videos, which is a really bad way to pimp my channel. But just regardless, I'm gonna try and start it back up because I've been thinking over the last month of a bunch of good ideas that I'm gonna try and do series-wise with Minecraft and Call of Duty, and especially Titanfall. So that's kind of that. I've also been running a network in the background, so that's kind of what's been taking up a lot of my time lately.
Very
All
cool.
right.
Well, I imagine we'll get some details about that when it's up and running. So
You will. You will.
Alright, are we just going to jump right into Titanfall?
Do we
I know I'm
have
kind of dictating that we're going to jump right into
Well,
Titanfall. I know we have some other things on the plate possibly too, but
we
I
got
mean,
some random
it's
stuff on the plate.
it's the elephant in the room, I'm just saying. And that's what the people want to hear about because they don't get that information from anyone else.
Make them stay till the end of the show.
well, that's why I was gonna say. Right, I know Whackman's got a couple questions, so we can always start with a couple questions. Always opens up the door for conversation.
Well, the first
Gets our
question
guest
was-
active.
There's
Yes, indeed.
I'm sorry.
Ask a question.
Behind you, behind the couch, there's
Oh crap,
it looks
I
like
forgot we were gonna do
people.
this.
Just turn around and look. It's over here.
Yeah, no, I can see it.
There's
Is it like multicolored people?
yeah, what is that?
It's like a 5th grade art project.
Oh,
Good shit.
That was disappointing. I thought you were gonna well, I guess the COD Ghost poster and my shooting range target thing is not in the frame.
where's the
completely.
shooting range target?
The
I don't
orange
see
poster.
that. It's very bright. Oh, yeah. You're a terrible shot.
I
Where's the
thought you were
range
gonna
on
ask
that?
about the
That's the first time I ever went shooting, so it's not gonna be.
I thought you were going to ask about the shirt because I was kind of curious, and then you kind of said it before we hopped on the show. But because I saw the shirt and I was like, why do you have a shirt? So why do you have a shirt hanging on your wall?
That is a shirt from a wrestling event that I went to.
Did you win?
No, it's not wrestling. It's a professional wrestling event I attended. What the heck?
Okay.
I don't wrestle. I'm not.
So did the poster child on the shirt win?
Yes,
Good. Good shit.
Well, there we go. It was
Yes.
worth your money.
it was. Well, I think I got it given to me, if I recall, but.
Oh,
It was
well,
worth whoever paid for it then.
Kind of like how Prodigy got his Titanfall beta code given to him.
yes.
And so did
really
Bondfire.
stalked Twitter. I stalked Twitter. It was bad.
Dude, I tweeted out yesterday, I got an extra Titanfall beta code, who wants it, with the intention of giving it to someone I know. An account tweets back at me, it says I'm on it or something like that, something indicating that they would like the code. It was an orange egg profile picture. It had 20 tweets on it, and I looked down the account, and every single tweet was towards YouTubers looking for Titanfall beta codes. Like, they made the account... They made the account to look for Titanfall beta codes, and I was so pissed. Like, I sent them a very strongly worded tweet back at them to let them know that I was not pleased with their searching of the keyword Titanfall beta code on Twitter and just going after anybody who tweeted about it.
You know what pisses me off? I got my Titanfall beta code, the actual one that, EA finally decided to send me. They sent me an Xbox One code, which I don't even have an Xbox One.
Well, did you sign up for an Xbox One code?
No, I didn't, actually. Now that I think about it. But they
I
sent me
got
a
2
Xbox
codes
One
sent
code,
to me,
and they
I
sent
signed
it
up
right
on
before the beta dropped, like publicly on Xbox One.
So
I was like, you've got to be kidding with me. This thing is worthless. Can't even sell it right now or give it away.
Yeah, that's... Since we're talking about Titanfall, I'm just going to continue the Titanfall discussion. I'm just, I don't want to derail the train now, because I don't want to forget the things I'm going to say. It's so stupid that they opened the beta up to be public, because they did 3 things, and I took a shower before the show, and I thought of my 3 things when I was in the shower. I'm going to try to remember all of them if I can.
Okay.
I know number 1 was that they wasted everybody's time with the whole sign-up process. They're just going to open it up to everybody anyways. They wasted people's time by not just making it public from the start, so all the people who were getting it because it was public couldn't have played it the entire time. They screwed over people who were a part of buying and selling and giving away the codes. Because there are people who are, and look, for the record, I don't condone of doing giveaways and selling the codes. Like, I mean, if you want to do that, okay, but I personally don't agree with that completely. But there were people who were selling codes for up to $50 on eBay.
Some guy sold 85 codes and made $1,700 on eBay.
See, like that guy, everybody who bought from that guy just got screwed. Well, assuming they're not on PC. If you're on PC,
That's hilarious.
Then that's okay. And then also, like, I just don't, I don't get why they would make it open on Xbox and not PC, because it's not open on PC, is it?
It is now.
It is now?
Today.
Okay, well, there's no
we're
reason
supposed
to
to go.
reduce.
We're supposed to go open today. So
Okay.
here's why you're wrong. Let me put me on big screen. Here's why you're wrong. First of all, they didn't wait. They wasted everybody's time if it was their original intention to go fully open completely.
Yeah.
However, I don't think it was. I'll come back to that in a minute. They screwed who? They gave away the codes. They did exactly what they said they would. They worked as advertised.
Well,
if you bought a bad product, you just bought a bad product.
Well, they didn't screw the people. I worded that poorly, but they shouldn't have said they were going to do it open after they had already given the codes out, because they should have known that could happen, and that was just not a good thing.
You shouldn't even
do.
have bought a code in the first place. You could have easily gone. I know a lot of my friends did it. If you emailed EA support or even gotten a live chat with one of them and asked, "Hey, can I have a code and redeem it on my Origin account or for Xbox One?" they would give you a code on the spot.
Yeah.
I know, but
They never said how many codes they were going to give out. If they'd have made a completely closed market and said there will be 1,000 beta codes, then you'd have a more valid point, in my opinion. As far as making it open later on, I think that ties back into the first with the wasting everybody's time with validation. I think, in my own personal opinion, I have nothing substantiated whatsoever. I think they saw how well the game was handling itself, and decided that they weren't getting the testing that they needed because the game was working too well. The point of a beta is to break it, or not to break it. It's to see where the bugs are. The
bug it out, yeah.
Yeah, they want to bug it out and see where the problem areas lie. They weren't getting that because the game was working too well. Well, in that case, you increase your base of testing out there, and then you see where that's what who's his face, the important guy with them that tweets. He tweeted
Zampella.
Vince Zampella, that's what he tweeted.
Let's break it. That was his quote. Let's break it. We're going to open it up. Let's break this game. And then they come back and say, look, understand these servers are going to go down. We're not ready for this. We didn't want to do this, or we didn't intend to do this. It's going to break. And the massive stress test, back to the original video that I put up, people were saying that this game won E3. It was the game of E3 last year. And since that time, people have just been going freaking nuts over this game. And it's highly possible that they could have broken the game, except it still hasn't broken.
Well, if you were going to, first of all, then they
Define
should have gone
broken.
about this a different, broken meaning that the servers are going down all the time, there's bugs everywhere. Basically, they want to see, I guess what Whackman is saying, I'm assuming, is that the point is to put as much pressure on the servers and on the infrastructure of the game as you can to see what the breaking point is, so that you can then fix it before the game actually comes out.
Yes.
That's a large part of it. The other part of it is finding out a lot of, some of it's just math. It takes 10 shots to get, and I'm making up arbitrary figure. It takes 10 shots on target to kill. But nobody, or an extremely low percentage of the population, is able to get 10 shots on target. It requires a team effort to get the kill. Well, that's not.
Aimbot.
Say again.
It requires an aimbot.
This math doesn't work. We need to require it to 6 shots to get a kill. They have to test their math. They have to test. Well, this shotgun is a viable gun for this distance, and then they come to find out later on, even though they got people that they pay to do this math, real people can't play the game that way. And there's a lot of that goes on. And when they adjust one gun, it's like, turning up the master volume instead of each individual track. You make those large-scale adjustments based on 1 or 2 guns, which is why the loadouts come the way they come, and why you don't have access to every gun, and why you don't have access to every map, and why you don't have access to every Titan. Maybe I don't know all of it, but
I think if they were gonna, Bondfire, you can go ahead.
Well, I agree with most of what Whackman's saying, is that it's a stress test. They wanted to maximize it. The game's working better than they probably thought it would, and they want to find all the bugs and try to break the servers. And I think the servers is a big issue, because you have to look at some of the past games that they've released and had issues with. Battlefield 4 is a huge example. SimCity is another example. And this being an online multiplayer game, and EA saying that they have to have a perfect launch for this game, much better than Battlefield, much better than SimCity. I think that's one of the big reasons why they opened it up, and they want to push the servers to the limits. And about the selling codes and all that, I think that's so stupid. And I would assume that part of the business decision to do this, obviously server testing and stress testing at the front of it, but also an added benefit is this: people are making money off this. That this money should be going to us, if anything. Not saying that they should sell beta codes, but it's kind of like the used game controversy. Developers aren't seeing money from used games, so let's stop it. Similar to that.
I just want to say, on the selling thing, if you paid $50 for a beta code, even if the beta was going to be private the whole time, you were stupid. You paid almost you paid almost the price of the full game itself for a 3-map, 5-gun version of the game that you can play for a week when it comes out in 3 weeks. Just let that sink in. That's completely idiotic. I think they could have handled it differently, though, because obviously they didn't just decide on the spur of the moment we're going to make it open. Like, that had to be a back pocket thing that they were waiting, saying we might have to do this all along. Sure. They didn't just say out of the blue, oh my god, we need to make it open, let's make it open.
When they were having downtime, they were talking to the Microsoft reps for like 8 or 9 hours when the servers were down. That's precisely what they were doing. They were preparing to make it open.
Right. So they had to have this card in their back pocket the whole time. What they should have done then, in my opinion, instead of making everybody go sign up for it and emailing the beta codes, they should have just said, we're going to send out, kind of like and Whackmed, you can speak to this because you got it from the open beta, is that it came out in waves, kind of. It didn't come out to just boom on the marketplace all at once. Like, certain people could get it earlier than others just because it took time for it to spread to everybody. Am I correct?
But I understand that, because you want to be able to stress test the servers.
COD does that too. I mean,
but everybody does that. But what I would have done is done that off the start. I would have said, we're gonna send out the beta to Xbox One users. It might randomly show up in your marketplace, it might not, and we'll open it up to more people as we go along, and just start out however many beta codes you sent out off the start when you first began. Just say, you know what, we just sent out 5,000 Titanfall beta available downloads. Go check your marketplace if you can download it or not. And send it out like that, like they did with the open beta, and then that way you can keep opening it up, and eventually, if you need to make it fully open, you can. You don't have to deal with the codes. You don't have to deal with people signing up. You don't have to, and you can tell people that it might be
get the download though.
Yeah, there's problems with that, because the other thing is this: you get hits off your website, and people went to their website and they got all the hits, just like you want all the hits on your videos for YouTube. They want all those hits on their marketplace.
That's minuscule, I think.
But the other, and I mean, there's more to it. So you look and they say, well, we had 100,000 people register for a beta code. That means there's probably 120,000 people out there interested in playing this beta. And they gave out, I don't know how many codes. I have no idea.
I got 2 codes and I signed up once. So obviously, I mean, what the heck?
There were so many problems with the whole code system.
Yeah, there were lots of problems.
Page for people who got the wrong code and had to switch it over to a new code. and they had to keep the support staff on like extra hours to have the code switched out. Like, that's ridiculous. Like,
the whole
code system is broken. It could have been
the whole thing where they said that people like anybody could get a free code. All you had to do was go tell EA that my code doesn't work, and they would give you a code. Like, people were racking up getting hundreds of codes by doing that without even having to do anything. That's another reason that you people who bought the codes are stupid. But anyways. I just want to drive that home, in case any of you are watching. I just want to drive that home that you were an idiot. But, anyways.
I personally don't know anybody that bought a code, and I feel bad for anybody that did, because you totally got screwed. Some guy on Twitter was looking to buy a code. He's like, I will pay $10 for a Titanfall code. And this is 4 or 5 minutes after it was just announced that the Titanfall beta, in 2 minutes, will be going live on the Xbox Live Marketplace. And before anybody else was able to tweet this kid back, because everyone was retweeting him for some reason, I tweeted him, I'm like, dude, it's open. Go check the marketplace. And he's like, oh my god, thanks. I'm like, I feel bad if I just sat there and watched this dude get screwed.
What a clown.
$10. So what would you pay? Now, it comes down to this. We're a year in the future. The next most awesome game is coming out.
Titanfall 2, the sequel.
The best shooter ever.
I knew someone was going to say that.
Titanfall.
I kind of waited for it, but
somebody else. Before you ask this question, I want to say one thing about maybe their strategy behind the whole beta code thing. Granted, yes, maybe it was handled very poorly, and I think part of that is because demand was oversupply at some point, and they just had it initially, and that's why it kind of just broke out. But I think part of having the beta code and the sign up is a marketing strategy to create a high demand for their game. Granted, there already is a high demand for their game, but let's get it buzzing. Let's get it going. It's going to be all over YouTube. Obviously, all the YouTubers and press got it first, which creates even more buzz, more demand for it. People seeing it on Twitch, Thursday night with all these big YouTubers streaming it and stuff. It just creates that buzz, and it really helped with the demand of their product.
That is true.
When they start trending on Twitter, the real world news takes notice, and that's free advertising. Yeah. And that's another thing. The question I was going to ask was, in a year in the future, it becomes commonplace for all betas to be pay-to-play betas. What's an acceptable amount of money for playing a beta?
$5.
I have a question. How long did the beta for this game last? I know it ends on the 19th, but when did it start? Is a week? Okay, it was a week, and it was approximately 3 to 4 weeks before the game came out.
Yes, I'd say $5.
Okay.
I would, assuming it's a $60 game, week-long beta, 4 weeks before the game came out, I would not go higher than 10, probably.
Yeah, no higher than 10, but my Goldilocks zone is 5, because that's kind of like a pre-order bonus at that point. You're getting this as, a high thank you, but it's not a pre-order bonus, so $5 to me is acceptable.
That's a good way of putting it. I was going to say, have you guys ever heard of early access on Steam?
I think I've heard of it.
I've heard of it, but never actually looked into it.
Well, that's kind of what you guys are talking about, because what early access is basically, it's a game that's in development. DayZ, have you guys heard of that game?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm playing the alpha at the moment.
And Rust,
exactly.
Right?
That's early access. That's a perfect example of what we're talking about. That's an alpha version of the game. It's not the final product, still in development, still a lot of bugs, and I think DayZ is $30, so people are paying $30 for an alpha version of the game.
Yeah, but it gives you the full game though.
Yeah, at the end it gives you the full game.
Like you don't have to pay for anything else after that. At least that's my understanding of it.
Yeah, like I'm playing Rust, is the same thing. Alpha, great game if you haven't played it. And it's I think $20, and it's Steam Early Access. I'm looking right now, and if they gave you the full game, I'd pay $60 a month before the game came out just to play the beta, and then if they gave me the full game after that, I'd be cool with that. But that's again like a pre-order bonus at that point.
Yeah.
Sure. The thing with early access, though, is there is no guarantee that the game will be finished and you will get a final product. That's the big controversy with early access.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So I mean, I don't know if I would pay for those things. Like DayZ, like if I had a PC, like a gaming PC, and I was going to play a game, that game looks really cool. I've seen lots of people play it. It looks a lot of fun. But would I pay $30 for a game that might not ever get finished? I don't
That
know.
is a concern I had. It was I bought it like 5 days ago. I played the original DayZ, like the actual mod
Yeah.
DayZ of Arma 3, or Arma 2, excuse me. And then they started developing the standalone. And I bought it kind of as an impulse buy because I had a little extra cash laying around and my friends were playing it. So, and I was playing it, and it's like, this game is obviously an alpha version. Like, it's really clunky. It's not a bad game. It's in alpha for a reason,
Mhm.
you know? So it's not like I'm bashing it, but it was really clunky. There were some bugs and stuff, and overall, I wasn't overly. I didn't overly enjoy my experience really after playing one session of it for like an hour and a half. And I'm thinking, well, that's fine. I mean, it is an alpha. Most of the things I didn't like about it were things that would be fixed. It wasn't necessarily the game itself, but broken mechanics and stuff that should be fixed. And they said that they were doing like one hot patch a week, and then they were doing bigger updates among those every few weeks or every couple months. And I was thinking, well, I just paid $30 to play this game in a state that I don't really enjoy playing it in. How long is it going to be till it gets into a state that I enjoy playing it in? Is this going to be one of those situations where it's going to be an alpha for 3 years, and then it's going to be a full game? Like so I kind of see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I guess it's a risk you have to take, and if you think you're gonna, if I enjoy the game for even a month, then I consider it worth my money. That's
Sure.
how I see it.
Yeah, and I think that's going to vary for each and every person. But back to the original question, if it was something like early access that you're talking about, having that with every game, being able to pay for a beta version, I don't think I would pay money for that. But if it was like a pre-order bonus, like you said, Prodigy, something like that, to where it's guaranteed this game's coming out on a given date,
Mhm.
and if you pay $5 to pre-order the game, you get access to the beta. That to me is more worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I don't want to play an alpha. I don't want to be given. And Bonfire, you've talked about this in the past. I don't want to be juiced over something for so long that when I finally get it, there's no way it can live up to my expectation of what I've built it up to be.
Yep.
And if I don't want to look down on anybody that does that. If you can, maintain that much love for that long, cool for you. You've got something you really enjoy. That's nice. But give it to me in alpha. It's going to be there for 9 months. And then you give it to me in beta, and it's going to be there for 3 months. And then, finally you've released a product to me, and I'm like, well, now I've got a final product. I've got a really great case and a cool-looking disc for a year-old game. Because to me, at that point, it's a year-old game.
Well, I think it varies. I don't feel like I've played Titanfall the game yet, even though I've played the beta, because it's got 3 maps and 5 guns.
But if you played the beta for a year,
well, if I played it for a
before it
year,
came
but
out, sure.
like
That's what I'm
even-
talking
There's guys
about.
at the event
Even-
that said it got boring after 4 hours of playing it,
Yeah.
just because it was the same stuff.
Well, even if I got bored playing Titanfall yesterday, and I was worried, like, oh my god, is Titanfall not going to be good? I'm bored of it already, and then I realized, this is like 10% of the full game, so I'm not really concerned that I've got bored because I was playing in a 3-map rotation on 3 game modes. But if you're playing it for a year, then yes, but if you're only playing it if it's a 1-month beta or something, or even if you were playing it for 3 months, but they were adding stuff in, like giving you more stuff to access slowly, I think as long as you're not playing the final product for 3 months, then I don't see it as a concern. If you're playing a dumbed down version for 3 months, then I don't think it's as big of a deal.
Like, I keep using Rust as an example. I like to be a part of the development process, especially with that game. Like, I like to be able to see the changes in this game, because I know it's going to be a great game in the final product, but I think it's cool that I'm able to be there for the process of it being built, and I think that's the whole point of early access, for people to be able to experience the whole, journey there.
No,
Right,
that's
and-
a great way of putting it. Yep.
Well, and Whackman, you're in the Project Spark beta, and you said you haven't really spent a whole lot of time on it, but like a game like that is different. Project Spark beta not getting any buzz, not hundreds of thousands of people trying to sign up for it and play it. Like, if you're playing the Project Spark beta, if you send your feedback in and try to get them to change things or take your opinions into consideration, I would think there's a valid chance that might happen, especially if other people echo that, because there's not as many people playing it. It's a more condensed sample size. Whereas with Titanfall, like, a beta is supposed to be, well, one, like you said, to stress how far can the game go and find out problems with it and stuff. But one of the things that beta, or maybe more alpha, because by beta the game's almost done, if not done, but is to get feedback from people of what they think, so you can maybe make some minor tweaks and adjustments before the game comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas nobody's doing that. Nobody wants to play Titanfall so they can send in feedback to try to get things changed for the game. They want to play it so they can upload YouTube footage.
I'd do it if I was getting paid.
Well, yeah, but with Titanfall, that's not the case. But that's one part of betas that is one thing that's typically a part of betas that's really not a part of this one.
YouTube money.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason people are playing this beta. Well, and because they want to play the game. But
in regards to Titanfall, just to kind of segue, I think it's gonna breed a whole new standard of commentators, right? Like, I don't see the COD community turning over into Titanfall commentators, because if you look at Titanfall, it's not exactly a game you could particularly commentate, right? Like you would commentate a COD game. So I feel like this might start a whole new community of commentators. What do you guys think?
It plays a lot different than COD,
Mm-hmm.
as far as what the rewards are and the whole reward structure. And the typical COD commentator I watch has nothing to do with the gameplay. It's just a background.
yeah, same here.
I prefer a gaming commentator regardless of what it is that they're playing. Now, if they're playing something stupid, I guess that does matter some. I think that commentator will do fine with Titanfall.
Yeah.
But as far as analyzing, like I've got a game that I recorded 20 minutes ago or so, or 20 minutes before we started, and I killed like 20 of the AI and like 2 real pilots. Is that a good score? I mean, or double that or something. But you massacre the bots and the AI, or not the bots, but the AI, and you kill like 2 or 3 real people, and you die 5 times. Does that mean you have a negative KD?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we can talk about the actual. It seems like we're breaking this conversation into multiple parts. We started with the beta and stuff. Now we're moving to how it's going to affect YouTube, and then we'll talk about the gameplay, I'm assuming. So I don't want to get too much into my opinions of the bots. I'll save that for the actual gameplay discussion that I'm assuming we're going to have. But I as far as YouTube, I don't think it's really going to change YouTube that much. The game does play differently from COD. I think they did a really good job of taking different pieces of different FPS games and kind of blending them all into one game, and because I feel like texturally and visually, it feels like I'm playing Halo. The movement mechanics feel like I'm playing Crysis. The way the game actually plays as far as combat feels a lot like Call of Duty. Like, I think they took a lot of elements from different FPS games and put them into one. So, and I think the same people. There's very few commentators that stick purely to one game. So I think the same people that are focusing on multiple different games now will just add Titanfall into that group of games that they play.
Titanfall's that game, and I haven't had this experience in a while, and I got really excited when I figured this out. It's a game that I want to rush balls deep into, right? Like, I want to rush straight to the combat, call in my Titan, start wrecking kids. I haven't had that feeling in Call of Duty or any other game in so long. And that plays into the gameplay mechanic of it where, I want my Titan. I want to call that thing in. I was so concerned, and I still am, that it's kind of like a support streak where everyone can get it, and it's kind of like annoying. But now that I know how to use my Titan, those Titans better run because they're about to get their asses kicked. And it's one of those games where I just want to constantly be in combat rather than, snooping around the map. And I haven't had that experience in a while.
I was going to say one thing about everyone having a Titan. I don't think for me, I like that feature because I think it creates balance within the game.
Yeah.
It helps balance it out.
It means that there's a Titan on the map all the time, most of the time.
And
which is awesome. It's so fun.
The end is crazy when everyone has a Titan out. Basically, the last like 30 seconds. Yeah.
The thing, I haven't played it with a team. I think that playing it with a team makes that a completely different game as opposed to playing it with Randy's.
Oh my god, yeah. But Titanfall is one of those games where I could actually sit down and play it by myself without a team. Like, I can't play Call of Duty by myself. I feel alone in this giant world of players that's going to stomp on me.
You can right now. because nobody else can play the game. I'm not calling you a bad player by any stretch of the imagination, but nobody else is playing with groups of people, or I haven't ran into any games where people were playing with a group of people. It was all,
Oh
BK
my
Randy.
god, that's all I've been running to on PC. It's horrible. Literally, they'll have like 4 Titans in a group, and they'll just storm up on you, and that's it. You're done. Eject mode, nuclear explosion, just goodbye. Nuclear eject, man. Get out of there.
We want to all give our review so far of the game then, I guess? Do we actually like it, dislike, whatever?
I'd really rather do that individually later.
Oh, come on. We got to talk about it some at least. I
don't have a problem. You want to talk about some of the things here and there, but as far as a full game review,
you don't have to go 10-minute review on it, but just what are some of the things you like, some of the things you dislike? Just a brief overview of your thoughts so far.
Go ahead,
One of the things I want when we were talking about getting, you said you were tired of the game yesterday. You got a little bit tired of it, but there's more of the game. I think, Wackman, you alluded to this that I say this on constantly is that YouTube hurts games in that sense because you look Ghost is a perfect example of this. We knew just about everything about that game before it came out. And that you get bored of it faster when there's no surprises. And with the beta, I imagine there's plenty of surprises left. I'm hoping that there's a plethora of maps. There's lots of more guns to be used, and there's obviously a couple other Titans that we can use as well. And so I'm hoping that that's going to add longevity to the game. But that's one of the problems I have with early access to some of these things, that when YouTube gets this, is that it spoils it for everyone. I hate that. So I just wanted to throw that in before we moved on to the actual thing.
That's valid.
I feel like EA is the only company right now that actually pays credence to YouTubers, which is funny. Like, they'll fly them out to events for Battlefield and for Titanfall, and Activision and even Treyarch, David Bondfire, is like, I hate the YouTube community. It's like, well, these are the people promoting your game. They're giving you free promotion.
Yeah, Activision,
in exchange for you not copywriting all their videos, but
Yeah, Activision just started actually catering to YouTubers. Well, I guess
we need these people.
EA's still a horrible company though.
I just I find it kind of comical almost that you're using EA in that, whereas if you would have done it 6 months ago, EA is that company.
No, they're still that company.
What happened 6 months ago?
Well, just in general,
the entire life of EA up to 6 months ago.
Gotcha.
EA's still that company. Just because they did one thing right doesn't mean they don't suck. Because they still suck.
Yeah, that's true.
Thanks for letting me in your beta, but you still suck. Thanks for monopolizing pretty much every single sports game series. Making people pay to play online with your online passes, having horrible launched games, age-gating your sports games for 3 years to where nobody could play them on Xbox Live, even if they owned them. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good stuff, EA. You're doing a great job over there. Great job.
Releasing two exactly same games.
I'm amazed that Titanfall is not, completely just crashed and burned already under your vision, but good luck.
I've been thinking about this actually, because we're playing this beta right now, and I just can't. And the number one competitor to this, obviously, next year, that I'm going to think if this is a number one selling game, it's going to go up against the other number one selling game, which is Call of Duty. And I think everyone's kind of trying to think of this as the COD killer and stuff like that. What can Call of Duty do, especially considering they're bringing in a new developer next year, Sledgehammer Games, but just I'm using air quotes on new. What can they do to try and combat this Titanfall fever? Because if this actually turns out to be the best-selling game, this turns out to be the next Modern Warfare 2 or COD 4, right? What can they do? Do you think they'll actually do another beta? Because they haven't done one since World at War.
You know what
Titanfall cannot kill Call of Duty. It's not going to happen, but...
Titanfall
I don't mean kill it, but what can they do to try and pull Call of Duty back?
If they are head-to-head, you're saying that they're head-to-head, or you're suggesting that for the sake of the argument, that they're going to go head-to-head as number one and number one. The best thing that both of them can do to stay alive is to have Call of Duty continue to release in November and Titanfall continue to release in March. Mm-hmm. And that's the best thing they can do. They keep the money away from each other. Because, I don't remember what I spent my paycheck on in November, but I know what I'm going to be spending it on in March.
Yes.
And I know that every year I can spend $60, and you know what I think? What I hope it'll do is rush the DLCs where they get out a little bit faster. But if there's 2 seasons, and I make a comment about this in an upcoming video of mine, one of the greatest things that Borderlands 2 did was come out in August, September.
Yeah.
Because nobody had anything to play. Everybody's tired of playing the games that they bought in November.
And Grand Theft Auto, yep.
And the thing is, if you keep these games away from each other, if you release AAA titles throughout the year, then you got good stuff to watch. Why does every good movie come out at the same time? Oh, wait, they don't. And the reason is because you can only go see so many of them at one time. So why would every game release at the same time? That's not a good business model, but everybody just has to get their fingers into that Christmas rush. And I think what you're discovering is Thief. I hope Thief gets money for it next month. They come out in a week. Titanfall is going to come out in March. Oh crap! There's a game that's coming out September 9th.
Destiny.
Watch Dogs.
Destiny.
Watch
Destiny,
Dogs.
The Division.
Destiny has not got a release date, or maybe they do. I got it.
September
September
something.
9th.
Hold on. Is it September 9th?
It is September
I got
9th.
it screwed up.
Bonfire's like, I know the answer. Why won't you listen?
Yeah,
to me?
Destiny is September 9th. But the Watch Dogs and Planet Side 2 are both set to come out in the second quarter.
I thought Planet Side 2 was already out.
It's out on PC, I believe. It's supposed to come to consoles, though.
Oh, okay.
So I think that if they stay away from each other on release date, then they're not going to have to fight a war they both lose something from. Because that doesn't benefit either one of them.
I want to see a beta for the next Call of Duty because I'm having an epiphany that it's going to be Modern
If they
Warfare
never change
4.
the engine, what do they need to fix? Come on, COD.
Apparently, supposedly, according to Activision, because Eric Hirschberg is such a great guy, he likes to be the poster child of everything. He's like, yeah, Call of Duty, whatever the hell they're calling it, because they bleeped it out, is such a step up in graphics from Call of Duty Ghosts. Which, okay, if they're doing that, then
Did you see the number one reply to that tweet?
What?
We don't care about graphics. It was the number one reply to that. We don't care about graphics.
When you swim underwater, the fish will move away from you. Hashtag new engine.
I went right through a fish. I did it, and I was pissed.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
your fish didn't move. And then the shark ate my butt, and I was like, that's wrong.
That's a game breaker if the fish don't swim away from you.
That's fine. What I was gonna say when we were talking about in terms of sales and being number one, Titanfall will not outsell Call of Duty. One of the reasons is because it's restricted to one platform. 2 if you count PC. There's no way. Now, granted, Grand Theft Auto did really well, only being on last gen, but that's Grand Theft Auto.
PS4.
Yeah, nobody had the next gen.
Only like 5.2. Anyways,
Mine was a joke.
I know.
I was joking.
I know. We do this a lot, but for me personally, I don't want it to. I want Titanfall to be its own thing. I don't want Call of Duty to come over to Titanfall. I don't, because I don't want those same players and those YouTubers. And I've been thinking about making commentary about some thoughts I have.
Do it. Let them know.
Do it.
But
Roast.
I don't want that coming over to Titanfall. I want to, because what Titanfall for me, and I know we're gonna get into gameplay here, but what it delivers is that fun traditional experience that Call of Duty Modern Warfare gave us.
Yes.
It's pure, it's fun, it's basic, and I don't want it to turn into some complicated, crazy shooter that to what Call of Duty is now. I don't want that.
Yeah, Ghosts is insanely complicated, and you say they don't use the word complicated. They use the word customizable, and truly, it is the most customizable Call of Duty that there is. However, it's also what's killing it.
Yeah.
I think, what was the COD killer this year? The COD killer was Ghost. It killed itself.
The COD killer was COD.
It took its own game and it shit on itself, because I haven't played that game and I can't tell you how long. I don't even pick up the controller to play that game anymore.
I have no desire to play Call of Duty anymore.
I can't tell you how many hours I had logged in Modern Warfare 3. Black Ops 2 thought it was a shitty game. but when I played Call of Duty Ghost, I would rather go back and play Black Ops 2 for the rest of my life than have to pick up that game and play it again.
I've actually played Black Ops 2 League play more recently than I've played Call of Duty Ghosts.
Exactly, me too.
That shows you how bad it is.
You know, Ghosts has League play.
I don't care.
They got clan play.
They're makeshift clan on clan. We hate esports thing.
Does anybody even do clans
Call of Duty does not hate
anymore?
esports.
Call of Duty Ghost hates esports.
Infinity Ward. Well,
It
I
could
think
be,
they-
Infinity Ward maybe.
Yeah.
Infinity
that's
Ward. I
okay.
don't think
Activision.
Infinity Ward hates esports. They're just clueless of how to support esports.
I think that
They're just lost.
You know, I watched
I'm
the
gonna say
commentary, and it was about Call of Duty, and I love how we just segued to Call of Duty.
Yeah, we don't want it to be about Call of Duty, but we're talking about Call of Duty.
Yeah,
now,
the people that made Titanfall made Call of Duty, so it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's
you can
cool.
do this.
Well,
yeah,
it's a natural
valid
comparison.
discussion.
Yeah.
So they were talking about, and this could apply to Titanfall too, how every game, especially for Call of Duty, but not really Titanfall actually, it changes, right? Like one developer will do one thing and it'll be great, and the next developer downsteps that, and then another game releases, and it's just all over the place with custom ability and the score streaks and this and that. Like, I hope Titanfall never brings on another developer. I hope it always stays on Respawn, and no one else ever jumps into the equation, because that, I think, is what started, especially when they tried to get more complex with things. It tried to get too complicated at that point, and the developers couldn't keep up with each other.
You know,
That's an interesting point.
the thing is, if they did not progress, if Call of Duty didn't progress like it did in features, customization. If it didn't make some kind of progression, you'd be complaining that it's Madden, and what I've heard someone recently call a roster update. It's just a roster update every single year. All you're paying for is the roster update, which would be much better handled with just a DLC. However, so you have to have something new in the game. Other than
You
that,
don't have to release it every year, though.
do you have to
Now it's
release it
every
every
2
year? You have to make you got to make a better Call of Duty than what's been made in about 3 years.
Yeah, but you do that as a byproduct of not releasing it every year.
And now it's every 2 years, but they should be building on what the predecessor did, right? Like, Black Ops 2 should have built on...
It almost feels like Treyarch and
Well,
Infinity Ward have worked against each other.
Yeah,
It's a rivalry, and they don't want to share their ideas to make the game better. Which really doesn't make any sense, because the more popular... If Black Ops 2 is a great game and it boosts Call of Duty as a whole, then sales for Ghosts are going to be better as a result.
And if that game is even better than Black Ops 2, then Black Ops 3 is going to go through the roof in sales, and it's just more money for you in the long run.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Somebody needs to sit these developers down and smack them with a wet noodle.
I agree.
You know, that's one of the comments that I actually have in an upcoming...
What, they want to smack the developers with a wet noodle?
No, that sometimes they just don't know.
Specific.
Sometimes they just don't know about building a game. It's like it's one of the things that I'm very interested in. If you're going to watch this video in the future, that's okay. I don't talk about it for very long, but it's one of the things I like about Project Spark is that I build the game. You've given me all the tools, and now I go and build a game. And I'm a gamer that can build a game for other gamers. And if my game becomes really popular, then and starts making good money, then you're going to have the ability for these developers to sit down and look at my game, a gamer's game, and say, why did you do it like that? And try to emulate my model. And they can see the things that gamers like based on what gamers build for gamers. Not necessarily what somebody who makes $83,000 a year designed graphically for a gamer. You know, there's how much do you know off the top of your head? Anybody have a stat off the top of their head for how much Titanfall has cost to make, or Call of Duty
Oyster, make
Ghosts?
something up. You're good at that.
Oh my god, Titanfall, even in the beginning, because they were in that giant lawsuit, which is really funny, just to go on that for a second, with the whole Respawn and how they left Infinity Ward, and they had the whole lawsuit, and then Infinity Ward started crying because they lost like half their developers. They literally brought on Ravensoft or whatever the crap their name is.
Ravensoft.
Neversoft. we have even more developers working on Call of Duty. So it's not even just Treyarch and Infinity Ward anymore. It's Treyarch, Infinity, and then the subsections of that. Treyarch at least is holding themselves together. Infinity Ward is just putting out shit games at this point because they can't even keep their development team together. It's crap. And it pisses me off. Like, get your shit together. It was 2008. Stop bitching. Let's go.
I agree. I can't find the cost to...
Well, I know
Actually,
Vince
this might be
Zampella
it.
and Jason West were paying out of pocket to actually keep the development going for this game because they had no money when they started Respawn, but they had all the money that they had made from obviously the previous CODs and stuff, so they were paying out of pocket all the employees and everything to get this game going until they finally settled down and got their stuff together with EA and finally got their, what was it, 125 million plus more in settlements from Infinity Ward and Activision, so fuck them.
I can't give you an exact number on the development cost of Titanfall, but according to GameSpot, the Bioshock Infinite and Grand Theft Auto 4 ran costs upwards of $100 million to make.
$100 million. So you're paying.
So I'm assuming Titanfall will be more than that even.
Right. So these are intellectual properties. There's not a whole lot of physical. I built something that you're talking about. You're talking about stuff that's on computers, and maybe you bought $100,000 worth of equipment. You're still $100 million in the hole. You've got some equipment. You're paying people. That's where your money goes. You're paying graphic designers. You're paying for trips for people to take to go hang out. What is it? Warfighter, Medal of Honor Warfighter, where they got in trouble for hanging out with the military and digging and getting military secrets so that they could build their game. And this is the kind of money that you spend to develop a game. If you're spending $100 million to develop a game that makes money, and somebody sits down for days upon days, every single night when they get home from doing their real world job, and builds a game inside of Project Spark and gets enough fame to be recognized for that, then you need to pay attention to what it is that he did to make his game successful, because obviously it worked. Obviously people like that. That's a good idea. Wire graphics so important. Minecraft is one of the most insanely popular games in the world right now, and the graphics are a joke. They're a running joke with Mahjong. How bad the graphics are. It's so basic. But that's the number one thing that's touted about the next Call of Duty coming out, is how awesome. That's the only thing we know about this game, is that it's supposed to have true next-gen graphics.
Well, you could probably leap over walls even cooler now, so it's even better. Come on, that's the best thing ever.
And if you want to see some Minecraft, go check out Bondfire's channel. He's doing some Minecraft noob stuff, and it's hilarious to watch him play.
Thank you. Well, I was gonna. You talk about graphics. That's one of the things that is such a hot topic about next gen. Despite, could be Call of Duty, could be Destiny, could be Dying Light. Whatever next gen game's coming out, the hot topic is it going to be 1080p, 60 frames per second? And honestly, I'm kind of tired of hearing about this because it's stupid. I mean.
Did the PS4 guy just get tired of saying 1080p 60 frames a second?
I did, because I'm tired of hearing this as an argument.
Actually, I think 60 frames per second is important. 1080p, yes. I don't care about.
For first-person shooters,
60.
I agree
well,
with
I
that.
think just in general for most games, a higher frame rate is an advantage, and it is important.
For first-person shooters.
Yes.
No, I mean,
Not
that's
just
what you're.
And just for any game in general.
For any game.
I disagree.
For Forza, for example, I don't want to be driving a car at a fast speed in the game, obviously, and then have the frame rate be dropping or inconsistent. I want it to look smooth and solid. Like, it's not just first-person shooters. I mean, first-person shooters may be the most important genre, but it's not the only genre.
I don't think that's going to kill your experience, though. I think the difference...
No, but it's still a plus that's good to have, that's more valid than graphics, I think.
Yeah. I'd rather have my game run smoother with decent graphics than run absolutely crap with amazing graphics, because no one's going to be able to experience those amazing graphics anyway.
What did you see Daddy play Titanfall?
No.
You hadn't seen me playing Titanfall?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, your opinion is completely invalid. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
That parenting.
Now go play some Titanfall.
No, they're gonna
talking
play. What are they playing? They're playing Wii because it's in the living room. Excitebots.
What's that? Anyways,
What's a
kidding.
Wii?
I still love
I
Nintendo.
heard.
but-
I used to hear of those in like 2011, I think, but
Yeah,
It's in
you
the
know,
living
Wii
room.
that sold so great, but didn't even have HD
Oh,
capability.
he brought it to me so that you'd understand. Thank you, son.
Well, I think that plays the Whackman's point. It didn't have HD, but it still outsold every other console.
Exactly. There
Ever.
you go.
I don't think
But-
graphics are. They're important, But you know what's more important? It's like this. I just bought a truck when like the other day. Oh, I love it. It's a beautiful Tundra.
What's up, Wings?
I just. Dang.
truck talk.
Hold on now. I can do that. So kill a cop and let's talk about trucks.
Oh God! Don't even talk about the cops.
I love
That
Wings.
pisses
No,
me
it's
off so
fun.
much.
He's fun.
Wings-
I'd like to hang out with him. He's cool.
Wings, I like him, but he's so rage-inducing at the same time. Sometimes.
Yeah, you got it's a little bit. Anyway, so the point is this: I bought the truck based on the powertrain. What engine does it have? What transmission does it have? How well does it run? How many miles are on it? What are the condition of the tires, brakes, and how does this thing feel? Now that I know I've got a really nice truck, what else does it have? Oh, it's got push button this. Oh, it's got power that. Oh, it's got electric the other.
The shiny things.
It's got shiny, pretty, and actually, the truck I bought, the guy was, we were talking about it, he said, if there's another whistle in this truck, it's because you brought it in your pocket. It comes with everything. I love my truck now. But the thing is this, the graphics are an afterthought. I want everything to be perfect, and then make it as pretty as you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
You know, we were talking about developers.
60 frames per
and-
second and everything else, and then you want to throw in the shiny polishing stuff? Great. It only makes my experience better.
Exactly. I mean, that there's no better way to put it. That's
Is Knack 1080p?
yes, I believe
Is
so.
it 60 frames a second? Because on
I think so.
YouTube, everything's 30 frames a second.
Which
Yep.
sucks.
Right, which
I
is
want Creators
unfortunate.
Cast or whatever it was to come back.
Yep.
You guys remember Creators Cast?
I looked at that a little bit a while back, but
Are you finished with Knack? I've missed. I saw that you released an episode I haven't seen.
No, I'm behind on that one.
Dude, get up, get on it.
I know.
I thought that
I
game
got a
would
lot
be
to do.
so stupid, and IGN did too. I watched the IGN review of it too. They were like, "Oh, great, Knack, woohoo!" But I watched one of your videos just because it was like I ran out of, and this is not to insult you, but I ran out of every other video that everyone I'm subscribed to had done, and I had no interest in a Let's Play and less interest in Knack, and then I went back and watched them all.
Well,
And I think I've been
that's
there
the thing. Talking about Knack, I mean, cause what sold me on the game was Adam Sessler from Rev3 Games had said this game, though it scored very low reviews, it reminded him of Crash Bandicoot. And I remember playing that game back in the day. It was a lot of fun, a 3D action platformer, and I was like, you know what? I can see myself playing Knack. If it's like that, I kind of want to relive that type of a gameplay experience. And playing it, it's challenging, it's exciting, it's fun, it looks cool, it's very colorful, though some people can't see colors, but I don't understand why it scored so low, because it's fun, and I don't know, it's not going to be like Rayman Legends, an epic platforming game, but it's fun, and that's I don't know, I think it's fun. I'm enjoying it, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. So
I am enjoying it. I actually wish I could play it with you. But
that would be cool because it is co-op.
oh, really?
It is co-op.
Hey, would my name be Nick?
Oh,
there you
go.
Man, it took
come on,
all
where's the
this-
sound effects? That would have been a good badooch.
You know what? There is sound effects. We should have had that queued up, ready to go with it.
Well, we
That's
usually
usually
do
Oyster's
we
that.
always
deal.
forget. That's usually me, but nowadays we always forget until something actually happens. And then we're like, oh wait, the sound effects, and then nothing else happens after that that's sound effect worthy.
Well, so I'm gonna expect you to open up the toolbox here.
I've got the toolbox open now, so if anything
All
else
right.
happens,
I didn't
then
get the
get ready.
notification that the toolbox was open.
I didn't either. So I'm
Neither
You
did
opened
I.
it at the
skeptical.
you opened it at the beginning, Whackman. It said it like before we started
is
the
that how
show.
it
It said
works?
toolbox has been open. Yeah.
But when we're talking about developers, Call of Duty developers, and multiple developers, and in that whole conversation, I think one of the things that we forget to mention is the influence the publisher has on a game. In Activision, I'm not saying they're completely money hungry, but they are. And
Well, you're not saying it, but you are saying it.
No,
But I
they're
am.
completely money hungry. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
I'm not calling you a hoe. But
but
you're a
you are,
hoe.
you know what I'm saying?
But you're a hoe.
You in it for the money.
Oh god.
So,
Yeah, micro DLCs. Let's go. I'll pay $3 for a wolf skin. Mm-hmm.
I wish I didn't
I
have
don't
to
wanna
pay
get
$3. I want
into
that
that.
wolf skin so bad. I really do.
No, you don't.
But
No,
not
you
$2
don't.
worth.
Come
Oh yes,
on.
I do. Oh yes, I do. Because I want a killer wolf. I want a dire wolf right
Please
there.
can't
just
do it.
stop. Stop
That
can't
is
do it.
talking.
awesome. But you know
Stop.
what? I'm not paying $2, $3. Is it $3? $2? I'm not paying $1 for it. I'm not giving you $1.
But what I was going to say is I think we forget how much influence that the publisher has on a game. And the reason why, I'll just group up last gen, like the last 3 to 4 years of last gen, why we saw so many cookie cutter first-person shooters and a lot of repetition within Call of Duty and lack of innovation is in that franchise is because of the publisher, because they don't want to change too much. They don't want to take any risks, and risks is a huge factor in that. And I finally feel like next gen, for both the Xbox and the PlayStation, we're finally starting to see a little bit of risk being taken with some of the games coming out. I think Quantum Break is a great example of this with the Xbox. It's finally something out of their normal, bro shooter games, for lack of a better term. And PlayStation's doing that as well with some games like The Witness, which is a straight up first person puzzle game, no action whatsoever. And I think that's good, and I think that's something that Call of Duty needs. What I would like to see Call of Duty do, just to get it out there, is take a year or two off. I know they'll never do this, but take a year or two off and take a risk. Put some years into development, into a game, and take a risk.
I think they're not taking a year or two off, but by going to a 3-year cycle, they can take a bigger risk. And the other thing is this: they've been on the Quake engine for so long. The Quake engine is insanely old. They have to make that engine new. They have to bring that engine anew up into the new generation of console. And that just means I don't know how much porting that actually means. So there's an amount of work to be done there. This is an opportune time to revamp that thing all the way. Break it all the way down.
Call of Duty so much with the next release. Just because of the fact that I see all these different games out there, how well they look, and graphics, and how well they play, and just everything else in between. And I look at Call of Duty and I'm like, if you don't innovate this year, then you're getting dropped off my list, which is not entirely true. I'm going to pick it up every year just because my friends do, but it's going to get dropped off the list of games that are, dedicated in my machine, right? Like, my console used to be an Xbox machine. That was it. It was always Call of Duty. Always Call of Duty. And now, it's a Netflix player. That's it. I don't use my console for anything else. It just sits there, it's hooked up to this beautiful TV, and it's a Netflix player.
That's hilarious.
Because I can't stand it. Can't stand these console games not trying to innovate. Scrap your stupid Call of Duty engine that you've been working off of for so long. Scrap it. Build a new engine. Build it from the ground up. You have enough money, so don't even try and make any excuses.
What engine does Titanfall use?
Brand new engine, I think. I think they built it from the ground up.
And that took them less than 3 years.
If Call of Duty,
9, 10, 11,
I feel like I'm willing to cut a little bit of slack for Ghost because I feel like they might have been a little torn between console generations, and you want to push the game to maximize on the new consoles what you can, but you still
have
what
I'm saying. The next game, that's the one I'm judging through severely.
If the next Call of Duty is not as good, it's not one of the top 3 CODs ever. If it's another cookie cutter just game that is just boring and not fun to play, I will probably never buy another Call of Duty after that.
they've had over 3 years now, Sledgehammer Games, to develop this game. Since Modern Warfare 3, then we had whatever it was,
2.
Black Ops 2, Ghost, and now they've had this whole year, and now they're launching this year. So they gotta either step their game up or step the fuck out, because they're not going to be on my list of games to buy.
The thing is this, if Sledgehammer, I think this is the year they take off, because if Sledgehammer, if they make an awesome game, then they have actually saved a franchise probably. If they make a crappy game, then Activision Blizzard can go, we're getting rid of them, we're firing them, we're sorry, we'll give you a free DLC pack, whatever. They can say, I'm sorry, we made a mistake with Sledgehammer, we'll never do it again, we're going to go back, it's Treyarch's turn, they're putting out the one for 15, please forgive us, we're still here, it's still Call of Duty, and they'll promo the heck out of it. This is the year that it doesn't matter what they do, it can't win or lose, or it can't lose because...
No, well, I have to disagree, because not your average Call of Duty player, like, Activision's not going to come out and make a public statement saying, the last Call of Duty sucked because it was Sledgehammer, we'd like to apologize, Call of Duty will still be great from now on because we fired Sledgehammer. Like, they're not going to say it like that. They're not going to say that. They're not going to say it like that.
They're not going to say it like that.
But they're not going to say anything. They're just going to drop Sledgehammer, and because they don't have to announce that we're not working with Sledgehammer anymore. They just does not work with Sledgehammer anymore.
That's all they have to do, and that's essential.
Right, but that's not going to be a shock-waving thing that's going to hit the community and make up for a bad game.
It will.
No, it won't. No, nobody's gonna. If the next COD is bad, nobody's gonna honestly sit there, or not. Rephrase that. Not enough people are gonna honestly sit there and say, well, this is only bad because Sledgehammer made it. We'll just give them a free pass on that one. Nobody's gonna do that. There's no way. Nobody. I mean, maybe some people will, but it won't be enough people to actually make a difference.
The news will, and the press will. IGN will.
YouTube will. As well.
The money's always going to be there for COD. That's the thing. Everyone's always going to buy COD. It's always got that demographic. I was buying COD since I was in middle school, right? Like, that's always going to be a thing. What really matters this time around is which game is in the console the most. Because that's what's going to cause microtransactions to be bought more. That's what's going to cause all these DLC packs to be bought more. All the games are going to end up being bought regardless, whether it's Christmas or something. It depends on which game, in my opinion, is actually in your console or PC or whatever it might be the longest, and what game you're playing longer.
That's good. What I was going to say, Oyster, is that they would make a statement and they would come out public. Now, they're not going to say, oh, yeah, 2014 Call of Duty was so bad. They'd say it like, we apologize for the disappointment that you've had with the last Call of Duty. But
why haven't they made that announcement with Ghost yet, then?
Because they've sold enough. I mean,
because everybody loves Ghost.
Why would they make that announcement? That doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why they would do that.
They would make the announcement in the form that they're dropping Sledgehammer. That would be the big focus. We're not going to continue to work with Sledgehammer next year. That would be the focus. I have no idea what happened to them.
And then they would leak out of a backdoor text message to somebody. Ooh, you saw that screenshot. You weren't supposed to. Something like, I can't believe they put us through this.
I think you guys are overvaluing the importance of which developer makes the game in relation to how much it affects the series.
And yet, that's why we're in this conversation in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, just take a look at the most like a few weeks ago or a month ago. I don't know when it was officially announced, but when Sledgehammer was officially announced that they're making the next Call of Duty, look at YouTube when that happened. Boom, it blows up. Look at the media outlets. Boom, it blows up. It's a big issue. It's a point. And every year people talk about, Treyarch makes the best Call of Duties. No,
I'm not saying it's completely irrelevant, but I think if you're saying that if the developer makes a bad game, that the specific developer, the studio, is so important that we can just wipe this off the history, and Activision can take no blame for it. It doesn't affect the series at all, or it doesn't have any bearing on the future of the series. I think that's completely delusional.
The way that you do that is to bring in a new guy who's expendable. Guess what Call of Duty just did?
No, that doesn't. I think you guys are massively overvaluing how much people care about. Plus, if people were smart, they'd realize Sledgehammer's been working on the Call of Duties in a minor capacity for a while now. They're not. This isn't their first radio.
Emphasis on
They
minor.
practically made Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer all alone.
That's true.
So this is not their first radio. We could blame. This is.
Who made Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer?
Infinity Ward.
Okay, so
Respawn.
all Sledgehammer
Respawn.
did was reskin it. It's not like they did any work.
No, if you think about it, Infinity Ward hasn't made a multiplayer because Respawn made COD 4, Respawn made, well, since the really early CODs, Respawn made COD 4, Respawn made a majority of Modern Warfare 2, and Sledgehammer made Modern Warfare 3. Now Sledgehammer's making the next Modern Warfare. I guess they made Ghost, and look how that turned out. Actually, no, who was the people that they brought in? Didn't they bring in a third-party studio to help make Ghosts? If I'm not mistaken. Like Ravensoft or something that was on that earlier. Yeah, Infinity Ward never makes their own multiplayer. They haven't.
They don't have enough
That's
time
such
to.
a valid point. They haven't. Infinity Ward, the new Infinity Ward, hasn't made their
Raven
own
and
yet.
it's Raven and Neversoft.
Raven
And the thing is,
Neversoft.
whether or not they make it is whether or not they make it or not. Somebody say words, because apparently I lost them. They're on the hook, is the point. It doesn't matter who makes it. Since you're the one that gets the publicity and the money, you're the one that's on the hook and will take the fall when it's not right.
So if people are so concerned about the fact that Sledgehammer is making the next Call of Duty, how come nobody's had the revelation I just had yet that Infinity Ward hasn't made a single Call of Duty
I don't know.
multiplayer?
Well, the thing is
exactly.
this, it's like
the studio's not as important as you guys are making it sound like it is.
Yes, it is. It's kind of like this.
Infinity Ward hasn't made a multiplayer, and yet we always talk about Infinity Ward versus Treyarch when Infinity Ward hasn't made a game.
I kind of compared it to Infinity Ward versus Treyarch and their little subsidiary mother
Well, like-
truckers.
Yeah,
It's
well,
kind-
like, and then Bondfire brought up the Infinity Ward versus Treyarch. If Infinity Ward Treyarch is a valid point, when Infinity Ward has not made a single Call of Duty multiplayer,
Who made Treyarch's multiplayer?
Treyarch.
Did they not have assistants?
Bonderhard.
Treyarch. made it.
Bonderhard.
Bonderhard wrote that code
The
for Blind
esports
1.
kid made it.
Well,
All the competitive
Oyster, you
players
said the studio
Kmart
isn't
said
such a big
no.
issue, but yet it is an issue because if you're saying so, Infinity Ward didn't make their multiplayer, some other studio did, but that's still an issue.
I think
it
the
not?
studio is important. I don't think that the studio is so important to the public's eye that if they make a bad game, they can just make a free pass. They can just have a free pass and blame it all on Sledgehammer, and Call of Duty can go on perfectly. Because the fact is, there are people like me who are on the fence about the series right now that if the next Call of Duty's bad, I'm not going to buy the one after that. I don't care who made it. It's still Call of Duty. Activision's still producing it. Infinity Ward is not going to be a part of it, but it's still going to be the same people making it over and over. I think most people are not going to just wait a whole other year and just put that behind them just because it was a new developer. That's not really a new developer anyways. I just don't see that happening. I think for people like us who are really on the inside and following it closely and are picking up these nuances like we are in this conversation right now, it may matter, but it's not going to be a significant dent.
Let us know what you think in the comments down below.
Good idea. I would like actually to hear that.
Yeah. What do you peoples think?
Yeah, you people.
Do we have anything else? Do we want to do a random question and get out?
Well, I have one more thing to say about Titanfall. Just to
Go for it.
So, Titanfall on PC versus Titanfall on Xbox One. Holy crap, it looks like shit on PC. And you wouldn't expect it. I ran the game on Ultra. I tell you, Ultra settings, like the insane setting. And the inside of the Titan, just as an example, looked like absolute crap. It didn't look like anything. It looked like a mushed up pile of finger paint is what it looked like. And, I go on, I look at Xbox One gameplay and it looked amazing. I was like, what is this? So,
the Titanfall developers didn't know that it was going to be an Xbox exclusive when it first came out, or when they first started making it. So I think the reason for that is probably they didn't know it was going to be only Xbox and PC, so they probably envisioned it being Xbox and PS4, and we're just going to port it over to PC like Call of Duty typically does without really caring. And then they realized, oh wait, PC is going to be a much more significant amount of our player base than we thought it was. And it was too late by that point. That's probably what I think happened.
Yeah, that's what
I wonder if there's a PS4 copy. I wonder if there's a PS4 copy just laying around somewhere.
Well,
they've got to open up the PS4. The next Titanfall will be on all consoles.
They might do the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I wonder
wait
if
a
in
minute,
this
has
studio they actually have it on PS4.
any game ever done that?
I don't know.
What?
Been
Like-
an exclusive and then become a non-exclusive?
Mass Effect. The first Mass Effect was exclusive only to the Xbox, I believe, as well as PC, and then Mass Effect 2 was multi-platform.
I have
Same
a
with Mass
feeling
Effect.
though, as
The
much
more
as
you know.
as much as Xbox One has put so many eggs in this basket of Titanfall being exclusive, I have to believe that somewhere in all that paperwork it says they can't make a PS4 version of it.
For the first one. Now, the question will be, will they continue the exclusivity with...
Well, that's what I'm
like,
saying. I have a feeling. I find it hard to believe that they don't have a clause in the contract that says no game with the word Titanfall included in the name can be on PlayStation platforms. Like, I have a feeling that's in there somewhere.
There's a possibility that language exists. I understand what you're saying. However, it's not like Respawn Entertainment has had a problem in the past with leaving their parent company.
True. Good
And
point.
it may not be what you've seen so far as Titanfall, but they had Titanfall stored back here somewhere. And I would like to see it go to the PS4 just because I love you guys. I think it'd be good for them, and I think that we could get 5 good years out of Titanfall before it becomes crap.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
well, and I also think that, you know, seeing the success that they've already had, the game's not even released, and I mean, once we see final sales numbers, we'll have a better picture when Titanfall releases. But I think what we'll see is this game's going to be, you know, successful in terms of sales, and they're going to make a lot of money off of it. Why wouldn't they want to make even more money by going multi-platform? Metal Gear Solid is another great example. Started on the PlayStation, now it's on the Xbox. Metal Gear Solid 5 is coming to the Xbox, and why are they doing that? To reach a more broader base of people, to expand their franchise and increase sales.
That's true.
So,
I guess it just comes down to dollars, and dollars. How much Microsoft is paying to keep the thing off of PlayStation. They might be paying just as much as they might make from PlayStation, you know?
yep.
That's
Well,
true.
they can do that. They
They
can
can.
definitely certainly do that.
Bill
I
Gates
hope
has
not.
that.
I mean, I think it'd be cool to I don't know if I would get it on PlayStation 4, you know, going forward with this particular title, but I think it would be great to open it up to PlayStation.
I don't think I would, only because of the fact that they've already started developing for the Xbox One, so then it's like starting over fresh, like a new baby on a new console.
Sure.
Kinda.
Oh well.
I hope Respawn stabs EA in the back like they did to... Or not stab him in the back. Actually, no, I do hope they stab him in the back. That's not what
Can
they
you
did.
imagine if Respawn went back to Activision at one point, how much controversy that would cause? Like, holy crap. I can't even imagine
Please
that.
don't. Please don't, because
They're
you know
not
what
a-
happened?
No,
They would
they're not a Call of Duty esports team member. They're not just gonna bounce back and forth like that.
Oh, hey-o.
And I didn't call out any individual. I'm just saying.
Nope, just the burns are out there. Let
Shots
it fall,
fired.
let it hit
every
whoever.
sports player.
The
Hashtag
rule is
Brawl alert.
the rule is it doesn't have to be about anybody as long as it applies to somebody.
Hey-o.
So if a pro hears that and thinks that you took a shot at them, that's their fault for being able to be taking that shot at.
If you're guilty, just
Wow, he just put some kerosene on that fire. Holy mackerel.
I'm
Well, the
just
thing
saying.
is it's like if you felt like I was calling you out, then
If the shoe fits.
I mean I wasn't. I had no one in mind.
I
I'm just saying.
I saw a thread on Reddit the other day, or like 2 days ago. It said, "Terrible people of Reddit, what have you done that made you think I was talking about you just now?"
Yeah.
So it's like when you read "Terrible people of Reddit," what made you go, "Oh wait, this applies to me"? So that's the situation. That's the situation that this is basically.
Absolutely. If you
Yeah.
feel guilty, are you? I don't know.
Oh whoa,
Did we ended on that now?
we're going
Yep.
deep into the
That-
matrix there.
We're going
just-
with deep thought here.
We need to stop before we get back to that episode where we dove like deep into the Matrix and conspiracy theories and stuff that one time.
Well, next thing you know, we're talking about aliens, and
Well, you know,
That happened.
there's aliens on the moon, and we never got to the moon in the first place, so whatever.
what?
I think I just got lost.
In the
Yeah.
show, Ahmed. Stop. Just
Take
end
us
the
out.
Show, do the outro.
Don't screw it up this time.
Yeah.
If you need a second to fill your, you know, get it together.
Okay, so that was episode 34 of 3-Bar Exploits. Thank you for hanging around. The timestamps should be in the description. We do want to thank our guest, Prodigy, for being here on the show with us. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you very much for having me.
So go check out his YouTube channel and say hi to him from Bondfire, Oyster, and myself. Thanks. Have a great day.
Bye.